Hey everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism, narcissistic relationships, healing from narcissistic relationships. And today we're going to do an Am I the Asshole? Back by popular demand. So let's take a look at this one. This one is, am I the asshole for suing my parents for college money? Okay. My great aunt set up savings accounts for all of her female relatives. In our culture, education for women is not really valued, and she thought that was bullshit. She lived with her father in London, where she was educated. She went on to attend university and become a doctor. She married a British man, they moved to America and had a great life. She funded the education of as many of her nieces and grandnieces as she could. When she passed away, she left money for every girl relative she could. My parents managed to access the accounts that were set up for my sister and I. They used it to pay for my brother's wedding. My sister didn't care because she got married 2 years out of high school and had no intention of going to college. When I graduated high school, I went to the bank to get money for school and it was almost all gone. There was like $13,000 left. I asked my parents about it and they said they had needed the money. I finally found out where the money went. I got furious. I got student loans and moved out. I am a great source of shame to them, and they don't give to you-know-what. I am currently suing them for the money that was left for me. My entire family is against me. They all think I am a complete asshole for airing private family business in public and that I'm putting money ahead of family. My friends are all on my side, but they are all Americans and don't really get my culture. Neither do I, to be honest. My brother called me up and offered to pay for my university if I dropped the lawsuit. I agreed, as long as we had a legally binding contract. He said I was being an asshole for not trusting him. I said he should not have accepted my money for his wedding. It is causing all kinds of embarrassment in our community now, I guess this whole scenario. I am somewhat ashamed to be doing this, but I don't want to have this debt I should not have. Ooh, honey, you are not the asshole, and good for you for going out there and getting that education, and good for your aunt for making sure there was money for the female relatives. I'd say the only place your aunt didn't dot her I's and cross her T's is not realizing that your parents are very, very entitled, selfish, maybe narcissistic people. Now, this Am I the Asshole actually brings up something very interesting for me around culture and narcissism, right? It's such a complicated conversation. No matter what, money was given for a purpose. The parents didn't value that purpose, so they felt entitled and egocentric enough to do what they wanted with little regard for appreciating the individuation, the autonomy of their own children, and went ahead, and of course brother, my guess is golden child, used the money there, no one in the family stopping this, them having no problem. They stole from her. Let's just call this what this is. This is theft, right? She could probably go get them criminally if she wanted to. But I actually totally agree with her lawsuit. And good for her for recognizing that Mr. Golden Child brother, she would need a contract with him because you knew he was scamming her just to get the lawsuit off their back, right? That's manipulation. I'll say whatever you want to hear, future fake. So you will stop doing something I don't want. Lawsuit, and then you'll never see the money. And he'll say, I never said that. I can promise you that right now. So she's clever. In a way, what's so interesting is that this scenario has put her where she needed to be, which is to get the hell away from this family. I mean, unfortunately, with many, many toxic families, and that toxicity can get magnified when they use culture as the excuse. Listen, nobody, you want to get into a culture battle with me? Let me tell you, first gen, born in this country of very traditional South Asian parents, I could win that smackdown all day, all night. So trust you me, I get from culture. I understand it. I get it. It shaped my life. It was hard for me to do certain things. I understand it. None of it is right. And so I think that this idea of it's culture. I understand her shame. That shame is so deeply internalized. And that's going to be a process that she goes through as she has the support of friends. She says her friends in the United States are supportive of her. They're hearing her. They're validating her. No, they don't get the culture. And ideally, she would find like a therapist who is of that culture so they could appreciate why this is so difficult for her, but really steadfastly can say she did the right thing. The way when you get culture meets narcissism, or culture meets this kind of pathological entitlement, when those things come together, it can be an almost impossible cycle to break. Clearly, her sister went exactly the way the family wanted her to. Graduated high school, in short order found a husband, And she's off pretty much repeating the same cycle, may do the same thing to her own kids. Her brother will probably do the same thing to his own kids. And then there comes that one person in the family, it's often the truth teller or truth seer, who says, oh, hell no, I'm not doing this anymore. And she may very well break away from it, a bit like her aunt did, get educated, start a different kind of life, and hopefully this will not happen with her children. But that kind of shame and the way the family basically becomes this big mob, this moving mush of enablers that becomes such a united front, it would leave someone like her feeling, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Maybe this really is bad. Maybe this really is disrespectful. No, what was disrespectful was your parents stealing money that was meant to give you an opportunity, to give you a leg up, to keep you safer and stronger and better in the world because you have an education with which you might be able to pursue a career or financial independence. But no, your parents were quite content to keep you caught in that same cycle of dependency. To me, that's just not right. I don't care what culture you're in. And so, and listen, that idea that they would feel that so entitled to the money and saying, well, figure it out, just figure it out, when there was money set aside. It's not as though this person was saying there was no money set aside and I expected them to pay for it. Someone actually made a bequest in this name. So talk about disrespecting women. They not only disrespect you, they disrespected your aunt who left this money with a very, very clear purpose. So, you know, those of you who say, no, 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 we have to respect all cultures. We should respect cultures and hear them. But at the end of the day, selfishness, entitlement, all this nonsense, I don't care what culture you're from, it doesn't make it okay. It's going to make it more difficult, though, for the survivors. So what I often won't do is sign off on this behavior because it's cultural. But I will definitely take a step back and know that the survivor experience for people who grow up in these cultures is so much harder. So to her, I say, good for you. Take them to court, teach them a lesson. There'll be a lot of grief for a person like this because they are effectively sort of distancing themselves from their family in a very permanent way. If they're willing to pony up the cash without you having to take them to court, have them place it in an escrow account, have it sitting there and saying thanks so much, and you can go from there. But anything less than that, don't take any promises, hon. And yeah, this is again where culture meets money, meets this kind of entitlement. Good luck with that. Hope that was helpful. Sure you had different opinions, and thanks again.